Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Sacha Sells Miami, the home buying series. Now today I'm here at the headquarters, RESF, and I have special guest, Monica Lore from the closing firm.
Hi guys!
That will be discussing and going over the most important areas of the contract now that you've decided to put an offer on a house.
Congratulations!
So thank you, Monica, for being here.
My pleasure.
Now, what do you think is the most important areas when going over this contract? Now, are there deadlines that need to be met?
Definitely. Making sure that you meet those deadlines.
Okay. Now, when you say deadlines, what kind of deadlines? What are we talking about?
First of all, the reason why I'm saying that this is so important is because you don't want your deposit to be in jeopardy.
Okay.
So deadlines such as you have a couple of days usually to sign the contract.
Okay.
Okay. And that's on this contract. It's on the first page of this contract. It says you have a certain amount of days for the seller and the buyer to agree. Otherwise, there is no contract. It just becomes null and void.
Okay. Now, when I'm doing the contract, I'm putting a deposit, right? Just to show my good faith that I want this
You can
property.
either put a deposit or you can put in the contract that you're going to give the deposit within 3 days.
Okay.
Okay, 3 or 5 days.
Okay.
Okay, that's the first deposit. If you have a second one, you may do it within the 10-day period or within the inspection period.
Okay.
Okay. There's also a closing date that you have to make sure that you meet.
Okay.
Okay. None of these dates can go over without an addendum being signed, just to protect your deposit.
Deposit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. So now the closing will take place within
Usually it could be within 30, 45 days.
That's a good scenario.
That's a good scenario.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And
But
it's
obviously,
very doable.
Okay, I'm so sorry. But obviously it'll go over if there's any type of issues or
Correct.
Okay.
Permits that have to be cleaned up or closed out, violations that need to be cleared,
Liens on the house.
or judgments. All these things take time, and you may need an extension.
Okay.
As long as you have an extension, you're good to go.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's very important to know.
The next important part is the financing. If you're financing, you have about 5 days to apply to the bank or to a lender.
Okay.
Of your choice.
All right.
You have 5 days, and usually you'll get an approval within 30 days. That's also a deadline that you have to make sure you keep. So if your banker is asking you for certain documents, like tax papers or check stubs, whatever it may be, you need to make sure that you turn them in as soon as possible, because there is a process.
Oh, absolutely.
That takes time.
And this was already discussed in the previous episode. So of course, there's a deadline and information that your loan officer would have given you at that time.
Correct. There's also the inspection period, which is very important.
Okay.
You can get out of the contract within that inspection period.
Oh, really?
For one of two reasons: whether either the inspection did not come out the way that you wanted it, or you just decided that you want another house.
So when you say the inspection didn't come out the way I wanted it,
well, there may be roof problems, there may be structural issues, or the air conditioning is very old and the seller's not willing to give you a credit. Okay, so all these items are negotiable.
Okay.
Once you get the inspection report, you will negotiate with the seller to see how it can be resolved so that everybody's happy.
Okay, so now if I decided to cancel the contract, then obviously I'm going to get my deposit back, right?
You will if you do it within the inspection period.
That's very good to know.
Yes.
That's very important information to know.
Yes.
Okay.
But if it's beyond the inspection period, then you'll have a hard time. Unless you don't get approved by the loan, by the lender.
Okay, that's good information.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's basically the most important issues of the contract. Everything else is a lot of reading.
Okay, of course.
So I'm not going to bore you with that.
Okay, that's awesome.
Do you have any questions for me?
I actually do. I know that the last part of the contract, there's additional terms.
Correct.
Now, these additional terms that obviously the realtor is going to go over and make sure that it's included
to benefit you as the buyer.
Okay, perfect. That, of course, this contract is contingent upon the appraisal and the inspection, as you mentioned.
Correct.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
Correct.
So obviously that your realtor should be knowledgeable and be able to sit down and fill this out properly.
And also make sure that the realtor adds in there that the seller has to pay for and close all open permits and code violations. You don't want to go into a home having to deal with a situation like this.
Absolutely. Can you imagine? I buy a house and all of a sudden I have to pay for somebody else's liens.
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
things done without permits or, not up to code.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
you see, this is why it's important for you to actually sit down with a realtor. You need to make sure you sit down with a loan officer.
Correct.
You need to sit down with the closing firm because they're going to be able to guide you through all this
That would
process
be
as well. Thank you so much for being
My
here. I
pleasure.
appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much for having me.
Again, this was another impromptu type of video, but guys, stay tuned for the next video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as TikTok. My website, sachasellsmiami.com. Until then, stay tuned.
Bye.
Bye. Hot takeaway time. Now that we've sat down with Monica, you need to make sure that you get yourself a title company and a transaction coordinator that's going to give you all the deadlines and time frame. Now, your realtor will also communicate that with you, but just in case, everybody needs to be on the same page and make sure that you are also on top of it. Now, important deadlines are you need to sign the contract in a timely manner, so that way it shows you and the seller are in compliance and agree with the terms. 2, you need to make sure that you give that good faith deposit that shows the seller that you're very interested and you want that property. 2, you also have a deadline to apply for financing if you haven't already done so. Very important. And the other important thing is the inspection period. That's very important, which is something that your realtor is going to be on top of. However, you need to be diligent and make sure it happens. The inspection period is what's going to determine if you're going to move forward with the transaction or pull back. Again, a lot of things happen during the inspection: leaky roof, pipes, the overall structure. These are things that you need to pay attention to and you need to meet as far as deadline. Okay, so hopefully this video was very informative for you, and make sure you communicate with your title company and your realtor. Until the next episode. See you guys then.